Hi everybody. For today's video I'm going to show you how I made these little mini rosettes. Aren't they cute? There are two different versions. They're basically made the same and they're adorable, and they're going to be embellishments for my Bits and Bobs quilt, but they would look great on a bag or as an ornament, or I don't know, whatever you feel like embellishing. For each rosette, I started with the ribbon. I love the gingham ribbon, so I thought that would work really well. And then I went into my trims and had a look, and I found this, looks like popcorn actually. It's grosgrain and it's gathered, and I thought that would make the good rose part of the rosette for the pink one. And then I looked in the blue, and I did have some grosgrain ribbon that works, but it's wider, and I just thought that that's I could gather it myself, but I decided instead for the blue one I would try making it with the rickrack, so we'll have two versions. And then for the button in the middle, I dug through my covered buttons, and I didn't have any that were, I felt, big enough. I thought I should have ones that were about an inch wide, and none of these were an inch wide, so I love the square one. I'm looking forward to using it sometime for something interesting. And aren't those interesting too? They're different than you see nowadays, I think. I think you mostly see these kind nowadays. Okay, so instead I dug through some of my shank buttons and looked for ones that I didn't care about that I could cover, and these were the two that I came up with. They probably will be just the right size. So I've not made these before. This is all just a little adventure you're going on with me today. Okay, so where will we start? We'll start with the rosettes. We'll put the button stuff aside. Now, I planned all this in my head. Of course, none of it might turn out to be true, but we're gonna see how it goes. We'll go on the fly. So for the rosettes, I thought with the button in the center, something in that order of size would probably be good. And I wanted to start with a circle to do my outer ring on. I'll show you in a second what I mean by that. So that's why I've drawn circles on both of these. Now, if you're curious what this is, it's a very thin cotton that I'm using as my base. And if you see here, it'll give you a clue where I got it from. It's from the inside of a cuff of a shirt I took apart. So you can even harvest that and repurpose it. All right. So let's get rid of that for now. We'll find the end of the pink. Okay. As I said, this is just me making it up as I go. I don't even know if this is going to work, and then I'll turn the camera off and won't show it to you probably. So if you see this, then it's worked. So how I thought I'd do this, I don't know if this is going to work, but this is what my thinking is. I'm going to stitch through the base along that circle, just a loose running stitch just to hold this grosgrain. I'm going to make sure I stay on camera for you. Down to the base fabric around that circle. So we're trying to make the outer ring the size of that circle-ish. I'm thinking that this is gonna go beyond the circle, but that's perfectly good. So and I think once I get my first ring done, it'll go simpler from there. I think it's going to be a bit fussy up till then. We'll see. I'll trim that base fabric back once the whole thing is sewn. So I'm just hoping you can see this. I'm just catching like a little bit of the trim, up and down. And every time I go down, I'm making sure the needle is going into that drawn circle of mine. I'm not sure if you can hear that ticking and ticky-tick in the background. That's the wood stove. It's cold enough here. Autumn has arrived. It sort of held off for a bit for us. And I actually think it's only a ride for a day or two, because they're calling for much warmer temperatures in the next bunch of days. Okay, and now I'm back to where I started. So now I'm just going to overlap a little. I'm going to make sure that start is more in. I'm going to overlap a little just so that, you know what, I'm going to come back here first and do this and make sure it stays in. Okay. Okay. So I'm going to overlap a little towards the center and go around again. Now this should be easier because I'm not necessarily trying to follow a line. What I'm doing is making sure the upper part of the trim is overlapping with the previous one, just a little bit. I'm already going to need another thread. Okay, I'm going to go to the back and get myself tied off and get a new thread. And when I don't think that one got stitched enough over to cover the space, so I'm going to go back down and come up there and take a stitch to hold it up. Because I'm using the same color thread and because it's so wrinkly, I don't think these little stitches are going to show. Oh, there's another space. I think maybe after it's all in, I should I might have to come back and do single stitches here and there. This went better in my imagination, of course, as always. Yeah. Okay, I think I'm going to approach this differently. Instead of stitching on the bottom, along the bottom, I think I'm going to stitch along the top and make sure I catch that previous one. That's probably going to save me a lot of time. And then when I do the next round, it can catch the bottom of this one. Figuring it out on the fly. Actually, I need to take that last one out because I'm doing it on the top. I have to just take tiny stitches on the top, or those longer stitches are definitely going to show. So, yeah, I have to also now change my stitch length. The back of the rosette can have the longer stitch, but when it's going to show up on top, I'm going to just take a small stitch. It's not lying very flat, is it? But it's looking like a rosette, that's for sure. Okay, I'm going to keep going. Actually, I think some of this I'm going to do off camera, but I'll continue to stitch for now on camera. So there I went, and I took a tiny stitch there, but now I'm going on the back with a long stitch and then coming up where I want to take my next little stitch. When you're trying to hold fabric down on a background, that's another way you can do that, is take the little tiny stitch that shows on top and then move. You're moving further, longer on the back where it isn't going to show. Okay, that's where I am so far. Halfway around. Okay, I am going to finish this part of it on camera. When I get to the center, I'll come back on camera and show you. Okay, back soon. I'm back before I finished because as I was working on it, I realized that thin cotton, as nice as it was to use as a backing, it wasn't going to give me the stiffness that I would want to be able to have the rosette keep a good firm rosette shape when I put it onto my quilt. So I'm changing direction a little bit. I'm not taking the stitching out and I'm not starting over, but I'm going to baste this piece of gauzy cotton onto a piece of thin batting. And I think that thickness of the batting will be enough to make it stiff. Felt would probably be something you could use too. So I just thought I'd come in here to say that to you. And if you see, I've already basted the gauzy circle onto batting for my blue rickrack version. I'm gonna just start right there with that one. So and now I'm going to continue stitching. I'll be back when it's a rosette, I hope. I'm beginning to lose some light, so I'm going to jump back in here and show you a few things, and then I'm going to work further on it and start recording again tomorrow. So for sure, use something like batting on the back. This was so much easier to stitch down once it had the stiffer back than it was at the beginning. Yeah, I'm glad I figured that out for you. So here's where I am. And basically I'm going to just stitch a couple more times and to hold it down and tuck an end into the center and then clip it. And it can stay raw because the button is going to go there. So that's how I'm going to continue on this off camera. And in the meantime, I started the blue, and that's coming together and again, the batting on the back is really the trick. So I'm just going to keep going round and round, and you can see on the back what I mean by I take a little stitch on the front that shows on the front, and then I move the needle about a quarter of an inch further, and just so the moving of the thread is on the back, which doesn't show, and then the tiny stitches are showing on the front. So I'll just keep going around and around the same for that one. And now for the button, which I'm hoping, this is again an experiment. I really have no idea how this is going to go. But what I did is I cut a piece of fabric, in this case, heart motif, and about a quarter inch bigger than the button I'm using. And I also cut a piece of batting about the size of the button. And now I'm going to, sort of like a yo-yo, stitch about 1/8 of an inch in. You don't want it to unravel, so you got the quarter to work with, but say 1/8 of an inch in, and then I'm just going to do a running stitch all the way around. If you notice, I have a pencil line mark here, and that's because I had originally drawn my circle, but then when I looked, I noticed the heart was off center, so I redrew I put the cardboard behind the heart, held it up to the light of the window, and could see where center was, and then I drew my heart from there. I mean, sorry, the circle from there. I just used one of my cardboard templates that I had cut out for those shabby rosettes I made a few weeks back. I am getting another sunny day, supposed to be tomorrow, so I should be able to film again tomorrow afternoon when the sun is coming in the windows here. Okay, now I'm all the way through, around, I mean. I'm going to go to the front. I'm going to pull these a little bit so that it, just like the yo-yo, starts to fold towards the middle. Actually, I'm going to leave the knot there and do it this way. And then I'm going to put my batting in and the button with the shank at the back. I hope you saw that, the batting and the button. Now, let's see. I want to pull it so that it's all in the center. This is total experiment. Okay. Actually, I think that will do. Nice. Move it over slightly. Okay, now let's see. Is that as tight as I can get it? I think so. So now what I'm going to do is I'm gonna, and this I imagined as well while I was falling asleep the other night, I'm going to stitch across and grab the other side. Further in though, like where the gathered stitch is, so again, you don't want anything to unravel, but we're going to use the stitches back and forth as a, let's not knot it, as a way to stretch it across and hold it. So I'm gonna, I think I'm gonna come and go the other way. Now I'm not gonna go through the shank in the middle. I'm gonna leave that open so that when I go to stitch it to the rosette, I have space to do that. But I'm gonna go on either side of the shank in the middle. Okay, now let's go this way and hold it together. Let's double check that it's moved a little. Still cute. Nice. That's gonna go in the middle there. Yes, I like. Okay. And I'm just, yeah, okay. I'm just going to keep doing this around and around till I feel like it's holding really well, and then I'll knot it off. It doesn't matter that there's raw edges at the back. All of that's going to be with its back to the rosette, so it won't show and it shouldn't have any issues. Yeah, this is working. Yay! Sometimes my imagination gets it. I think I'm gonna go one time this way and come over here. And then one time this way too. There, I actually think that's got it. Yes, okay, I'm gonna knot that off and that's done. So I'll make the blue one up as well. And when I come back tomorrow, we'll put the rosette, the button, and the ribbons together. Okay, I finished the pink rosette. I left a little bit of background open in the center so that the shank of the button had somewhere to nudge into. And here's my blue rosette and the button I made for it. Now, we're almost done. First thing I'm gonna do is trim off the backing so that it doesn't show beyond the rosette. So really just mostly in the corners. And then if there's anything more that I need to trim, I'm going to come back after and clip little bits. Don't want to clip any of my stitching because that won't be helpful. Now, I'm making these to go on my Bits and Bobs quilt, but as embellishments, these would be fun to put on as a lapel pin or on a bag. You can make them into ornaments, I suppose. If you put a backing on the back of the rosette, you could do that. Smaller scissors for fine, yeah, smaller scissors for the finer details. There, nice. Okay. Really quick. Actually, you don't need to see me do both of them. I'll do the button next and do the blue after. Okay, this video is starting to get a bit long. All right, with buttons, I like to use double strands, just because. So I'm gonna come up. Now I'm gonna decide, in this particular rosette, it's not perfectly round. There's a kind of flatter edge here, it ended up. So I'm gonna use that as the bottom edge. So I'm gonna see which way I need my button to go to be face up. Okay, so knot on the end, coming up from the bottom, sewing a shank button. I think you know that basic probably. It's the second stitch that's the harder one, but I don't do it all in one go, so I come up approximately where I need to be. I try and find the shank, pushing through. No, there it is. And then back down. And I think I'm gonna try and get it a third as well. Sorry, just rethreading my needle here. Okay, so I think that'll do. And then knotting it off at the back, of course. Now, if you did want to finish the back, yeah, a circle of fabric stitched on loosely would probably just be just right. Okay. All right. There. Okay, now for the ribbon, my thought is to just fold it over like this. Not sure the length. I guess I'll play with that. Yeah, that's about right. So that's 4 inches altogether, up to 5 inches maybe. Yeah, I think. Let me see. Yeah, let's go one a little bit bigger so that there's room to tuck. All right, now what I'm also going to do is I'll cut the bottom after, but my plan is to cut from the center up in both directions because I've got the gingham. That should be, I could easily aim to the same length without too much trouble. So let me get a needle with a new piece of thread. Okay. So first, to get this to stay where I want it, I'm gonna come up between the layers and just do a tack stitch just right here at the top, just to make sure that it stays folded exactly where I intend it to stay folded. And then come up the back. There. Now, on the back of this, I'm gonna stitch it about there. It doesn't need to be way up high, like so. I'm gonna give it a pin and hold it there. And double check that I like it. I think so. All right. Now this is again not going to be seen, so it doesn't have to be, well, it never has to be super tiny stitches or anything like that, but I'm just going to tack it to the back and forth a bit, a couple times. Oh, I didn't mean to put that on the pin. I did it again on the pin. One of the reasons I love basting more than using pins, because the pins are always catching the thread. now I'm going to do a couple stitches down here just to keep that down. And then I'm going to bring the thread across and do the same going up on that side. Okay, knot it off, and it's, except for clipping the bottom of the ribbons, it's done. There. Okay. Here. That's cute. I like it. All right, for the clip, I'm picturing if it's squarish, so your angle cut is like a half square triangle type shape. So I'm gonna aim for up there. I should probably use bigger scissors. Like so. Don't be precious about it, just go. Okay, and I'll do the opposite here. There. There. I like it. I'm gonna put you on pause, finish the blue, and I'll come back and show you them completed. All right, all done. I'll show you the back. Do you have a favorite? Mine is the rickrack. I like the version of the rickrack better. Though this is fun too, and I'm glad they're both different. But yeah, I think the blue rickrack one has my vote. Let me know which one you like best in the comments if you feel like it. All right, thanks for watching. I'm enjoying making these embellishment things and showing you how, so I'm sure I'll have some more down the road. Thanks for watching.